The 4-3-3 formation will not work for this Real Madrid squad, and here's why. Now let's be clear, Al Hilal is a solid team. They just took over with Xabi as their manager, who led Inter Milan to the Champions League final last season. They have a great team with Joao Cancelo, Milinkovic-Savic, Joao Neves, and a couple others. I think anyone really expected this Real Madrid team to come in and absolutely dominate this Al Hilal team, especially considering the fact that we've got a new manager who's hopefully looking to implement a new system. Now, I say hopefully because Xabi Alonso came into this match with the same 4-3-3 formation, the same 4-3-3 tactics that Ancelotti implemented all season long last season. And we ended with a similar result as last season. We did not see a lot of success in this match. Let's break it down. So I think this 4-3-3 formation won't work because of a couple factors. Let's start off with the most obvious in my opinion, and that's Rodrigo. Rodrigo on the right wing is a right winger that can play in an advanced position if he's asked to cut in and play as that kind of inverted forward. If you ask Rodrigo to stay wide and provide width, he is not that type of right winger. He does not have the explosive pace to outrun his left back. Rodrigo's strengths are not staying wide and using his speed to attack. That's not who he is. Rodrigo needs to start in a more advanced position and be asked to pinch in and attack the goal. That is the only way that Rodrigo will work in this right wing position. If you ask Rodrigo to start on the right wing and stay wide and provide that width, Rodrigo absolutely disappears, and it's not necessarily his fault. He gets disconnected from the game. He doesn't see the ball quite often. And when he does see the ball, the team that's defending has enough time to go ahead and transition and have 2 to 3 players on Rodrigo with absolutely no creativity left there. Zero space left to attack. That forces Rodrigo to play that simple pass either back to the defender or back to the center mid, looking for another space. And that's what I highlighted in the previous video. If we start with the 4-3-3, the only way that it works is if we have Rodrigo playing a more advanced role. But again, from a defensive side, this would require Vini and the striker to also drop back in transition, and it would require the 3 center mids to be defensively solid. And that is the major issue as to why this 4-3-3 will not work. Something else that I've also mentioned was Trent Alexander-Arnold playing that false back role, and we saw that in the first half specifically. Trent would pinch in into that midfield to overload the midfield with numbers, while we had Rodrigo sticking by the touchline. It's a very similar 4-3-3 implementation as Ancelotti last season. The only difference being Trent Alexander-Arnold is pinching into the center mid, overloading the midfield with a little bit more numbers, hoping to get more control, but you're still asking Rodrigo to stay wide, to stay playing as a right mid, essentially dropping back defensively and limiting his creativity in attack. It's just not going to work. Now, the other reason why I think this 4-3-3 won't work, and I think Xabi Alonso caught on to that in the second half, is the 3 starting mids do not have the playstyle or the ability to really dictate the game, control the tempo, and have a creative outlet in that midfield. Valverde, we know him, we love him, but he's a box-to-box midfielder. His strength is not his passing ability. Jude Bellingham, again, another great player who I think has the ability to play that deeper role, start at the base of the play and have that creative outlet and kind of orchestrate that midfield. But the previous few seasons, at least with Real Madrid, his best ability has been attacking the box and getting into that box for either the assist or the goal. That's what we've seen. If we want to implement him as that controlling midfielder, it's going to take some games to get that tactic in place. And Tchouaméni, the defensive mid, of course, you can't expect him to have that creativity. You can't expect him to excel with his passing ability. It's not the defensive mid strength. And in the second half, we saw Xabi Alonso drop Tchouaméni to that center back role and bring in Arda Güler into that midfield role to help control the game, to help have some ball control and some creativity, and have the ball progress a little bit quicker and a little bit more directly. And this ties into another talking point that I've previously mentioned. Xabi Alonso is going to use Tchouaméni as a center back. Whether he starts as a center back or the defensive tactics have him drop down into that center back role while defending, one way or another, he's going to be used as a center back, and I think that's quite clear. You need to be realistic. This is Xabi Alonso's first game in charge. He's only had the international players for about 3 to 4 days, and a lot of that practice was just getting their fitness in place. So I'm hoping that tactics will be implemented and we'll shift to either a 4-4-2 or a 3-5-2. In my opinion, that's the only way we'll see success. Now, I'll give Xabi Alonso the benefit of the doubt. My assumption is that he went in and used that 4-3-3 because it's what this team was used to, and knowing that the opponent in Al Hilal was a tough team, he wanted to be a little bit conservative and play it safe. One of the great signs from this game was Gonzalo Garcia. A lot of Real Madrid fans have been asking the managers to at least try the Castilla players to see if they have the ability to perform at the top level. And Gonzalo Garcia has proved his worth today. Now, whether this is going to work in the long term or not, nobody knows, but at least we're giving the kid an opportunity to shine. He's been very successful with the Castilla team, and the natural progression for any club would be for him to get a chance with the starting team, and we saw that. My only complaint would be that we did not see Jesus Fortea or any other right back from the academy playing in today's match. We did go back and use Lucas Vazquez for the last 20 to 30 minutes of this match. It's going to be very important to see the formation that Xabi Alonso uses for Saturday's match. I think the last 2 matches at this point are absolutely must win if we want to top this group. Kylian Mbappe should be back for that second match on Saturday. So I think we will see that Vini and Mbappe duo at striker. Now, a big talking point for sure will be if Xabi Alonso can get Vini back on track. We all know Vini's level. We all know his talent. He's shown it season past season. Last season was not his best, and it seemed to be the season where his antics grew a little bit more. He's old enough to understand that he needs to control his emotions. Whether he's right or wrong, at the end of the day, the referee already marked the play, and he needs to get it out of his mind and keep playing. It's the Vini that performs, the Vini that is focused on the game and not the audience, not the referee, not the opponent. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying Vini isn't justified. There's plenty of occasions where his reaction is absolutely justified, and I will back that 100%. But when you're diving and still going to complain to the ref for another 30 seconds after the game has already started again, and you're still walking and complaining, that is where the issue comes in, and it's all mental. Having said that, Xabi Alonso did not use Dani Ceballos for this match, which would be the other alternative to Arda Güler in that center mid role. I think it's quite clear that Xabi Alonso will request a center mid signing. Whether that will happen or not, we'll see. I think a sale needs to be made in order to afford another signing, but we'll see if the board is ready to back up Xabi Alonso. Now, I think Xabi Alonso is still the right move. I think Xabi Alonso will implement his tactics, and we'll see that towards the end of the group stage. I'm not going to jump to conclusions. I know a lot of fans are frustrated by today's match. It reminded us of the Ancelotti tactics and the Ancelotti approach of the last 2 seasons. But I think Xabi Alonso is the correct decision. I think Xabi Alonso will make some adjustments, and we should see improvement game after game. What do you think about Xabi Alonso's first match? And who did you think deserves to be on the bench for the next match?